Chapter 1. "You! Get over there!" the guard barked at Jess, clouding him on the side of the head for emphasis. Jess stumbled forwards, then broke into a reluctant jog. He'd seen the guards whip and beat other prisoners for not moving fast enough. Ahead, several guards in heavy armor waited with 2 prisoners and the remains of a 3rd. They all stood near the side of a small spaceship, which was maybe 100 meters long and 30 wide at its widest. It was only high enough for a single deck. The dead prisoner had been ordered to open the ship's airlock, but had set off a booby trap. Stuck at the front of his group of prisoners, Jess had seen far more than he wanted of the death. As the man had manipulated the door controls, a blast of electricity had been unleashed, ripping through his body. At least it had been fast. Over the past 4 days, Jess had seen many of his fellow prisoners die as they set off traps, most quickly, but some lingering in agony until a guard grew tired of the noise and put a bullet in their head. They were working their way through a series of vast hangars, each filled with ships from tiny one-person flitters through to immense mining vessels. At least that's what some of the prisoners said they were called. Jess had been born a prisoner, grown up a prisoner. At 16, he knew he'd die a prisoner. Like most of the others, his aims in life were to avoid being punished too often, to get enough food to survive, to keep going. Not everyone felt that way. A few tried to escape. Normally those who hadn't been born prisoners, who had memories of freedom. It was hopeless. Every prisoner was fitted with a control collar. At the slightest sign of a revolt, any guard could activate the collar of every nearby prisoner. Jess didn't know how they worked, just how it felt. Like a million insects biting and burning their way down every nerve. Some people screamed, some couldn't. All dropped to the floor writhing in agony. Distance offered no safety. The guards just increased the range until the running prisoner's collar activated, in the process taking down every other prisoner within range. The punishment for those trying to escape? Other than the pain from the collar, nothing. Nothing from the guards. Punishment was left to the other prisoners, to those who'd suffered when the collars activated. Few tried to escape more than twice. Repeat offenders were almost always killed or crippled by the other prisoners who valued avoiding punishment from the collars far above a fellow prisoner's freedom. It wasn't all stick, though. Sometimes there were rewards, like now. A month on special rations for anyone managing to help make 3 ships safe. Meat for every meal, real vegetables. A feast compared to the prisoner's normal fare. Not as easy as it sounded, though. Jess had no idea who the previous owners had been, but they'd been determined to protect their collection of ships. Many groups of prisoners were working to gain access. Hundreds had died already, just that Jess had seen or heard of. Now it was his turn to step up. Walking past the guards, he studied the 2 prisoners already by the ship. The closest was an old man, powerfully built despite his age. His face and arms were covered in scars and burns. Life expectancy for prisoners was 30 to 35. The man looked well past that already, which probably meant he'd been captured in the last few years. The other was a woman, maybe 8 or 10 years older than Jess. Dirty face already creased with wrinkles. Jess stopped by them, trying to ignore the charred and still smoking corpse on the floor. A guard stepped forward and shoved him towards the ship. "Open it," he told Jess. Jess glanced at the other 2. The girl looked away. The man spread his hands. "We've already cleared 1 ship," he said. "You're the trap fodder at the moment, like Barbecue Boy was before you. They'll save us for the tricky traps inside." His face softened slightly. "Be careful, kid. Take a little extra time. You look like you got more smarts than the last one. Use them. You'll need his pry bar.